All right, are we ready to continue this project? I sure hope so, because we're going to get started right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and this, as you may recall, is the front beam off of a 273 white disc that we bought last spring and took apart and then have never done anything with. And the reason we took it apart is because of this right here. Much sadness. The sadness crack. It extends almost completely around. The other side is, or the bottom side here rather, we have this much in and part of the other side that's holding it. And when I saw that, I thought, well, first of all, that was kind of sketchy, I guess, to pull it home, because if it would have broke, it might have done something strange, because the tongue is actually bolted to this and this. But anyway, down the road, I thought we'll make it, you know, it's not under that great a load, as long as we don't have it whipping and really put a lot of strain on it. So I took it apart, and I really debated on this one. Do I just grind her out and, you know, really nice and re-weld it and live my happy life, because maybe that wouldn't break again? But the more I thought about it and the more I looked at it, you know, you can even see here, it's bowed this way from being broken, which you think is nothing. But then you look at it from this way, and it's also bent pretty aggressively. So that, for me, pretty well made my decision that we're just buying a new piece and starting over. And since we're doing that, why not jump up to the next thickness wall so that hopefully we don't have this problem again? And that's what we did. So in the last installment, we dug all this out again because it's been sitting around for almost a year and we haven't accomplished anything with it. But we formulated our plan, and today we're going to get started on that. And step one of said plan is going to be sawing off this bent end. And you say, why? Well, because that'll get rid of all of what's causing us trouble. We can drill all these holes down here, then we can, in theory, flip this around, bolt the holes together that we have already drilled, and then we can drill the remaining holes using these two and those two as a pattern to do these two and those two, because everything is evenly spaced as far as my tape measure will read, and we're going to go with that. I did realize, though, that when I need to get an inch drill bit, because this is actually, I think, an inch hole. These are 3/4 inch holes. I got that drill bit just fine, but I don't have an inch drill bit, so I'm going to have to get that so we can put in those two holes, which are metal hydraulic lines go through here. So we want to get all that, but first things first. So we're going to firstly saw, and then we will do some very precision clamping and whatever we have to do the rest of it, because we got to make sure it's lined up good before we ever start, or sadness will abound. So we're going to come over here to the trailer of very expensive tools that I own and nobody can borrow because they're super expensive. We're going to start with this one, the Portaband. I tell you what, friends, when I bought this, I thought, is this really worth it? Did I make a good choice? I mean, I thought, yeah, I'd probably use it, but it was like $700 on its own. And I thought, well, you know, is it worth the investment? Like versus a corded one or something else. Well, I'm telling you, this is well worth it for me. I mean, it's a wide opening one. Some of the earlier ones were not this wide, so I can cut this whole beam any direction I want. And the fact of it not having a cord is super handy, because I've used a corded one before, and it's just an extra annoyance that you don't need. And I bought this for doing one project. Basically, I had a job, a guy at a dog farm wanted me to weld like welded steel 2x2 paneling around the whole bottom perimeter of his dog fence, which I don't know how many feet that translates to, but it was a lot because it was multiple pins. Because the reason he was having is the dogs would dig under the chain link fence and go from one to the other. So he wanted this put across there. Well, that's all well and good, but at the top there was nothing to weld to. The bottom, actually, if I remember right, was buried partially in the ground, and there was actually a like a wooden 4x4 or something buried in the ground, and so we just stapled the bottom of it to that, backfilled it in, and that kept the bottom solid. But then between your posts of the chain link fence across the top, there was nothing to keep the thing from going crazy floppy or whatever. So I welded a strip across from post to post that was like an inch wide or inch and a half wide flat steel strip all the way around the perimeter of this, and then welded the top of that wire to that strip, and then the bottom we buried in the ground and nailed it to that other thing. And that way they couldn't go over it and they couldn't go under it without really, I mean, they could have went under, I guess, if they'd have dug like a 4-foot hole, but it took care of the problem. So when he wanted that done, I debated, well, do I buy 10,000 cutoff wheels or do I buy one of these? So that's what I did. I bought this, and I have used this thing all the time. I love this thing. The only trouble I've ever had was finding replacement blades, because the blades in the store that they tell you will fit it do not fit. I don't know why. And the last time we did this, it was actually kind of a debacle, and you know, I ended up, I had to get them returned and whatever, and they couldn't figure it out. And finally, when they called DeWalt and whatever, the ones that they sent were in a Bosch package. So whatever, I can't remember. I want to say they're like 44 7/8 or something like that, and then the ones they sent were 42 or something like that, or maybe they sent 44s and they're supposed to be 47. I don't know, but the point is, it was kind of ridiculous that the computer doesn't show the blades for the thing that the store sold, and I don't know, but this is super handy. That's the moral of my story. So, sawing. I think that we're probably okay to just go ahead and saw right like that, because it's actually proud of the other one. So I think if we are careful, we will know when we go through. I'm just gonna go for it. Let's see what happens. Might have to switch blades, but this is a fairly new blade. Probably would go faster if I turned it on in, but we paid for that extra wide capacity, so. Like butter. Got that out of the way. Now, I think the next order of business, we're going to get the knotted wheel wire brush jobby, and we're going to just clean this off on both the underneath of this and the top of this, so that we don't have any struggles. All right, another expensive tool at the time, back when I bought this. I've had this thing for years. I can't remember, is it a 5.5 inch grinder? Maybe, that sounds right. It's a big boy. Does it say on there anymore? It's hard to read. It's been so many years, like I said. But I bought this because it's a DW31, whatever that translates to. When I was in FFA, the school had a bigger angle grinder that was, I don't think it was a DeWalt, it was something else. But that size had a lot of power, and it was good for what we were doing. So I thought, I want one of those. So that's one of the first things I bought. I think the first thing I ever bought powered tool was a DeWalt cordless drill and what have you. Another thing, Buddy the dog. Another thing that I bought because we had it in FFA and I liked using it. So anyway, that's why I bought this. And for years I thought, well, maybe I didn't really need something this big, but it's been super handy. I mean, you put a knotted brush on it like that and you can get some stuff accomplished, friends. Now it is heavy, so you don't want to be carting it all day. You know, it'd be better to have a second smaller one, which is what I do. I have multiple smaller ones, but this one is handy. So it should make short work of cleaning up the top of this, and then we can go from there. Also, what you're going to want to do is not have the cord plugged in. All right, now it should work. Beautiful, beautiful, friends. I think we will, well, like I know we will. We also will put underneath of this one. I'm trying to make myself room here, but I don't want to throw this heavy piece off of the forks because that would... All right, I have no idea if you can see. Can you see any of this? I'm gonna flip this up on top now. I'm gonna have to go. There we go. Now, it's gonna come to... This is very important, actually. At first blush, you think, who cares? But if we don't get this perfectly centered, we are going to have a lot of struggle bus later when we flip it around. So see, like this, that ain't going to work. We need to get it perfectly even all the way. I don't know if we're capable of this. Are we smart enough? Well... Nope. I think what I'm going to do, one of these. We're going to try something. This is going to be terrible because we're going to second guess ourselves to the point of frustration. But if we can make sure that the center of that hole is 2.5 inches, then we should be good. And what I'm going to do is clamp this, and I'll explain my procedure here in a minute, what I've been thinking. Let's I guess there is actually room to put a second clamp over here and still drill the hole. I was thinking I was going to drill that hole first and then bolt it and then do this so that I could get it, but I think it's going to be fine. See, now we got to get this. Boy, it looks straight. I need to get a straight edge, I think, like an actual solid straight edge. Hold it up against there. And make sure that we're really the way we need to be. I mean, setup is key here. We don't want to destroy our whole situation just because we got a little too excited. And I'm wondering if I notice another problem. I wonder if this is actually bowed a little bit right through here. And so what's actually happening is I'm never gonna get it perfect because of that. And so in that case, what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to just do the best I can and kind of split the difference of everything and then go with it. I think that's where we're gonna land, right there. I was gonna go get a straight edge, but let's just, I mean, that's pretty well dead on there, if that's to be believed. But what we don't know is it really flat, or am I just tilting this tool to make it flat, you know? It looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna just clamp it down, and let's run the clamps down. I'm gonna put a big C-clamp on that end, and then we'll go from there. Here's another tool that's never as handy as I hoped it would be, but today I think it's gonna be its time to shine. A giant C-clamp, and I actually had to free that up last night because it wasn't wanting to play. But the reason why this is never as handy as I think it would be, it's a nice solid thing, but the screw is not long enough for it to touch the other side. So unless you have a thickness of material like this, you don't really get the benefit of said clamp, you know. But I'm liking this. I think we can play ball with this. That looks pretty even. Boys, I think we're ready to make some bad decisions. Let's I think I'm gonna run that wire wheel over this now, so that's clean for when we put our magnet on there. Let me go grab the grinder again, and we'll give that a quick go over. All right, friends, can you still see? I think we're in good shape. We might have to get the angle grinder and knock off that right there. That hole that's been pushed, and this one too, up in there a little bit. And I think that we need to have that smooth for when we get to the point of putting our magnet on here. However, we have to, that doesn't disturb us. It's just right over here. I'll go grab it and we'll make this happen. We're going Chinesium grinder style here, but that just happens to be the one that's got the grinding wheel on it. All right, I feel better about that. I think that will help us later. Now, for the unknown. I have waited to play with this for a year, which also tells me that maybe I'm not going to use it as much as I thought I would, and I should have just borrowed one from somebody, but I don't even know who that would be. Look at this, still wrapped up in the plastic. And I think we're going to have to learn some things here, friends. I believe it takes a special type of bit, actually, but it does come with a chuck that you can change. Let's get it out of the bag. Book, you need a book. We're going to actually have to read the instructions, friends. because I know nothing. I would say that is the chuck key. We have an Allen key. We have a little wrench, an 8mm wrench. These are obviously the handles. So, what we're gonna have to find out is how we switch from this quick attach chuck probably to the regular old drill chuck. See, it takes those kind of quick attach bits if you're doing other things. Then we gotta, okay, let's read. I'm not gonna bring you along for that. I will, I'm wondering if it'd be better to, well, put it over on the thing and turn the magnet on so that it sits still, but we'll read and figure out how to do this, because we need that style chuck for what I got. And then this is no problem. Oil bottle, I've got some thread cutting oil we will put on there to do that. This is just a safety shield. Somewhere a minute ago I saw the screws for that, but I probably lost them already. You know, why wouldn't I do that thing? That would be about par for the course. It looked like it was just some little wing nuts. So that's a bummer. I know they were just here. You saw them. They were laying in there on top of the thing when I went to open it up. Well, that's crap. But, oh, they're taped to the bag. Okay. Well, give me a minute and I'll read instructions and we'll go from there. Okay, friends, we might have reached our first snafu here. That chuck will clip right into there. However, now I have no travel like to put this bit in. I can't, well, that's not exactly true. I might actually be okay. Forgot we're going through, we might actually, it has to be done this way, but not really. I bet we're gonna end up having to put another spacer piece. That really sucks, I don't like that. Because what's gonna happen is I don't have enough travel up in here to do this. If I had such a bit that had the quick couple thing, that would solve my issue. But I don't have, I wonder what that means. Is that speeds? I really need to, I guess, read more, because I might have more. I bet there's more travel. I bet this head unlocks and will slide up on the track. Let's try that. That's probably why they send you tools. They had it put away for going into the case, which is the same way like the circular saw won't fit in the case if it's not put in there correctly. I bet this is right. Okay, yeah, there we go. Alright, how's that gonna go? Let's see here. That's perfect. I think we're gonna get it, friends. Now it's coming together. I was gonna say, it would suck if it was not useful after spending. This is a lot of money, friends. It was almost $2,000, I believe. But it's one of those things where I know I have projects coming up where I need something like this. So I thought I might as well just spend the money now and use it for different things than nothing. Now, thread cutting oil. We need to put that into our little reservoir, which is just magnetically on that strip, and then it travels up and down with the carriage. Somebody had some super duper idea for thread cutting oil, and I never ordered any of that, so I don't know. Maybe this isn't the stuff to use, but what do I do with the lid? We're gonna go with it. All right. Now, do we have everything that is important? I think we do. Do we need this safety piece of crap? Probably not. I don't think so. What's that gonna gain us? That probably goes in there somehow. We don't need it. It's just gonna get broken and be in our way. Also, we don't really need our safety chain. There is a safety chain to wrap around this, but that is only if you were in a situation where the magnetization would be lost and the thing could fall. So we're not in that situation. I might give it a bump on this, and I'll probably throw it to the ground. I wanted to level it out a little bit more so that thing isn't just yeah. Okay, now my plan here, ooh, I like that it even stays it stays where you put it. I like that. We want to get this where I think it's not putting any pressure on this hole. Ooh, let's try it there. Now, when we turn this on, the magnet will be engaged, according to the book. It also makes me wonder if magnet is on. It is on, friends. It also makes me wonder, I hope it doesn't do anything goofy to the camera, that powerful electromagnet. I don't know. We need to turn on our oil feeder. We need to probably get her primed up, which it's not doing. Okay, oil, come on. All right, we got oil. Let's put this bottle back. I wonder if it would also be a good idea. I don't know how that oil is going to get down to there unless there's something I don't know. I don't really get that. To be honest with you, I don't know how that oil is going to run down there. Yeah, that makes no sense to me unless there's some kind of hollow tube. I bet it comes out up in here somewhere, but I don't know. Let's get the, isn't that pretty? That's what money looks like. Let's squirt a little too much. All right. Well, hole 1 is done, and it looks like it did a respectable job. I see another problem though that's probably going to happen, and I hope not, but inside of that steel, oh man, that sucks. Inside of that steel is a raised rib where they put that seam together, and I wonder if that drill bit is going to hit that when we do the other one. We should have started from the other way so that we drilled through that. Is it still too late to switch? I'm just gonna roll with it. if we have to put this piece on and do it again from the other side to make the holes meet, so be it. But I don't know. That's another thing that only could happen to me, you know. And a matter of fact, what if we right now, no, we can't, that's gonna hit. I was gonna say, what if we lowered it down so we could get to the second one, but we're not even close. We're gonna have to take the top tube off to do that. I don't know, we'll figure that out later. That's an unforeseen misfortune that I didn't see, but we'll make her happen, friends. We'll make her happen. Let's hope that that's not the case. I need to turn this off so we can move it. Now I need to center this up again. Probably about right. You have to turn the magnet on before the drill motor will run. I know that much. Another thing you have to know is that these holes are probably wore a little from the bolts sitting in there all these years, so that's why it looks a little sloppy. But when we got to the bottom one, it looks just about perfect. I'm not happy with that. I'm second guessing myself again. There we go. Still don't understand this. Bottle feeder. I'm going to say so far so good. It's doing what we want. We may not be doing it exactly right, but never having used one of these before, we're just doing the thing. But so far I'm impressed. I like the way that it stays on there, and I like the way that it feels while it's drilling. It's solid. I don't understand the oiling system, but you know, I don't know everything. So moving on. And yes, in case you were wondering, it is super heavy in a way. I mean, I guess not super heavy, but it's heavy. It ain't your average cordless drill. Let's start with that. Let's see what we got here. Free movement. Free movement. I'm sure there's guys out here who've done this exact same thing with a handheld drill. So I can't imagine that what we're doing is any worse. I think that we'll probably be okay with this, but it's just interesting, you know. Oh, let's give it a little squirt of the good stuff there. Hopefully you get to where you need to go, buddy. I gotta pause and read on this again because I'm puzzled here. Specifically intended for drilling. Turn the flow regulator counterclockwise to close. So I'm doing the right thing. It just don't do the thing. I don't know how the oil comes out, but like I said, perhaps it is because we are not using this. We've got the drill chuck in it. So that may be why it is the thing that it is. All right. smoking tube, sure. This is working very lovely, I think. We might find out that it's totally crap later, but let's get this positioned with maximum magnet surface if possible. I think that's going to work right there. Warm but not hot, and that's good. That means we're actually getting the thing correctly. Let's see here. Very nice, very nice. We won't know, I guess, if it's very nice till we take this off and see what it looks like underneath, but sure makes a guy feel hopeful. I also wonder if I should have, I don't really have a shop rag. I wonder if I should have started from doing those inside ones so I don't get oil on the magnet. I don't know if that makes a difference. I might switch and we'll do those and work our way backwards. And then that way we don't. I would hate to do something dumb and cause damage to my very expensive toy here. How's that feel? Solid? Part of why I bought that now is because I fear that at some point in life we are going to have to redo pivot pins on those four-wheel drive tractors, and this is what you're going to need to do that. I know that because at the shop they had to do that on some years ago, and they had to get a mag drill so that they could put it on the tractor and then go. So that's what I'm thinking. But whoa, whoa! What happened? The magnet came loose? Why did the magnet come loose? I bet we had it in a, I bet we had it in a bind. It said that can happen though, but I'm surprised that the drill motor didn't quit. But it said that it could lose. I don't know what happened there. There, it's not magnetized. It did it again. It must be that it's not evenly on there. Is that why? It shouldn't do that. It should not. See, there it shifted. Friends, that was the first time I felt like it wasn't doing the thing. Look at that. Why is it not magnetized? Theories are either A, maybe this material is cupped a little bit. B, perhaps, I guess it's really made of two magnets, isn't it? So maybe I didn't have enough of the surface on there correctly to do the thing. But I really don't have the ability to do anything different if you want it to be where it needs to be. There, let's see, that time it still got a little bit of wiggle wobble to it. It'll work. It'll work. I think the problem is I'm doing something that's not ideal. Ideally, you'd want the whole base to be in contact. Another thing I was thinking is maybe this is slightly cupped and it's not getting a good thing right here. The reason I think that is because this is where all those plates were bolted on top, and if they were ever loose, it could have wore on the top pretty bad. Whoa, see? Dang it. That's what we didn't want to happen. Maybe we do need the safety chain. Maybe the safety chain is not just for falling off. Maybe the safety chain is for the magnet coming loose. We're learning so many things today that we didn't know. So that being said, I think from now on I'm going to put the safety chain on. Let's turn the magnet on. See there, the magnet grabbed a hold of it really good. And like now I feel like I could pick that up. So something here was not level, I guess, good enough, and it wasn't letting that magnet hold enough. I'm not happy with that. Let's scoot it forward just a little bit. Yeah, see there, she pulls right down, and I'm not. See there, I can get it into a position where it does not solidly so that's what it is. You got to make sure you get your magnet in a position where it will do the thing. Yeah, see there, it shifted again. I wonder if it is an electrical issue. I wonder if my cord is not letting it get enough electric to hold that magnet at full power all the time. That's bizarre. It would be interesting to know if I had it plugged directly into the outlet, if that would do it. Just see there, I feel like I could pick up a mountain. And there again too, it's just like it's like whenever the drill motor's running, it's using too much electricity. Turn the magnet on. That'll hold up there. So that thing does work and it's super handy, but it has quirks about it, I think. And part of it is maybe that I don't have a strong enough electrical connection for what I'm doing, because that's not really that heavy a cord. That's a potential problem that we might be having. Ooh. And I don't know, I think the other thing is this surface is probably not a perfectly flat surface anymore, as evident by the fact that the thing sprung up in the air when I just let the clamps off it. And so what I think is taking place is sometimes that magnet is not sitting flat. And I just wonder if I really got this the way that I intended it, because it kind of looks to me like some of them are not. Well, I guess they're fairly close to correct. But we're gonna have to line up these holes here, you know, here in a little bit, which we're gonna have to go get the bolts from up on the thing and then set that up and do that. But before that, we're almost out of time here. I gotta leave and we're almost out of battery. But I do want to try to drill a couple of the holes. I want to try to drill these 2 end holes. And I got to thinking a minute ago, this isn't going to be as big a deal as I thought, because really the only holes that are going to be affected are these 2 very end ones, because everything else is drilling off to the side, so it's not going to interfere with this seam right here is what I'm worried about. I'm going to brake clean this off, and then we're going to magnet the drill to this and see if we can punch holes through there. And if we can, we're golden, and if not, then we'll cry and have to figure out something. But I also realized something else. In order to do what I'm doing here, I really need to drill these holes all the way through as well, so that I can just drop the bolt through both pieces, because I can't get inside of there to do anything like to put a nut on to hold those together. So it would be better for me to drill everything open the final way now that I have it this far, and then go from there. So I'll set this to the side. I'm gonna go get some brake clean and make this happen. Well, that was rude, it cut me off. But in the next one, we're going to pursue finishing the rest of these holes all the way through. Then we'll get some of the bolts and we'll try to bolt the 2 pieces together, so that we make sure we've got some holes for sure lined up. And then we'll try to get that other end done. When we get those, we're going to be drilling 4 more holes using this as a template. Then when that's done, we'll take that off, we'll drill the rest of the way through. Actually, while we have that on there still, we'll probably mark it. We'll cut the end off so that it's the same length. And then we will, well, I'll have to go about getting a bit to do these 2 holes. We'll have to stand it on end, and we'll have to try to do that. And I don't know how that's going to go. It makes me wonder if a guy ought to just, do I want to try to use that as a template, or do I just want to try to measure and make a mark and drill it through and go? Because that maybe isn't as precise. I just got to be able to get those 2 pieces of pipe through those holes, and they're flexible. So there's nothing holding them until farther back. So these 2 holes could be off a little bit, and I could still get the things through. So I might just freehand those if I take some measurements and figure that out. But we're out of time. So that's where we are. We're going to work on next time, and I think we're going to get it. So until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. As always, if you enjoy my videos, give them a thumbs up. Leave a comment and tell me how dumb you think I am. Or if by some slim chance you liked it, say that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.